This is Duke University.
So next up, we're moving from the very current to the more historical here with Jack Schrager's paper, El Apostol, the unique ability of José Martí to engage his audience. And so I don't have to do too much introduction. It's another descriptive title that talks about the way that Martí fashioned a sort of revolutionary persona as a way of advocating for independence from Spain and advocating for revolutionary action to bring that about among the Cuban people. Jack wrote his article while enrolled in the course Arguing with Poetry, and I think we can see how that's relevant here. It was taught by Suzanne Hall. Dr. Hall is the Assistant Director of Writing the Disciplines and Lecturing Fellow in the Thompson Writing Program, and she's here to speak briefly about Jack's article.
So as I was preparing some remarks for today, I was going back and looking over the rich textual record I have of the many conversations that Jack and I had in my class. I had over 35 emails from Jack over the course of the semester, and a lot of those came before or after meetings that we had in my office. He's a frequent visitor to come by and chat with me. So it's really great to work closely with Jack across the semester on this paper, and you can really see the results in this article that he's produced. Highlighting a couple of things that are particularly striking to me about his work here. One is the fluency of using a diversity of texts and his strong ability to maintain his own original argument while doing so. So that's something that we work on across the disciplines in Writing 20. Working on poetry, this can be particularly challenging. Understanding the poems themselves can just take hours on their own, let alone reading all the secondary scholarly work about the history and the poetic interpretation. And in Jack's case, he took on an additional challenge by pursuing a project on a Cuban poet, a poet who wrote in Spanish, a poet who wrote in the 19th century. So he had a lot of additional things to negotiate as he was trying to understand these texts, write about them critically. Another thing that I think is really astounding about the final product here is the clarity of Jack's writing and its accessibility. So I think anyone in here who picked up a copy of Deliberations today could open up to Jack's article and read it and understand it and be persuaded by it. Not all academic writing has a goal of being accessible to non-experts, but often in the humanities we strive to write in a way that non-experts can understand. And just last week, Duke's President Broadhead put forward a definition of the humanities in a speech that I think is really appropriate to understanding Jack's accomplishment with this piece. And so I'll read Broadhead's words here. The humanities aren't just the subjects listed in college course catalogs, literature, philosophy, history, music, and the other arts, though those are certainly included. The humanities are a name for the process by which all the things humans have made, said, thought, and done come back to spark the understandings of other humans across time. So I think in Jack's energetic engagement with the writing process and with Martí's work and Martí's critics, we can really see that sparking across time taking place. And as a professor, this is an incredibly exciting thing to see happen. So even though, as Jack's article ultimately argues very successfully, Martí's audience is very different from an 18-year-old writing in 2011 about an 18-year-old American student writing in 2011. He's directing his work at a very specific audience that is not Jack. We can still see that through active thinkers like Jack, Martí is still reaching out. His ideas about freedom and solidarity among the dispossessed in a society can still be heard. They can continue to be discussed and translated into the conversations that we continue to have about these topics today. So it's a great pleasure to work with students always who seek out that spark and to see it taking place in front of you, and that certainly happened with Jack in the classroom, and I'm happy to be here celebrating his hard work today. Thank you.